Kanye West being sued by the George Floyd family for his insane remarks on Drink Champs hosted by Nore. Now let me be very clear. I watch Drink Champs, enjoy the show. Nore played himself. Kanye has been playing himself for a few years, so there's nothing abnormal about that. Nore had an opportunity to check Kanye in real time, but instead, Kanye was able to disparage the name of George Floyd, to defend a monstrous killer, and once again, his messaging is totally aligned to the new consumer base that has made him more money. All right, let's go to the video. Here it is.
I watched the George Floyd documentary that Candace Owens put up. One of the things that his two roommates said was, they want a tall guy like me. They want a tall guy like me. And the day when he died, he said a prayer for, 8 minutes. He said a prayer for 8 minutes. They hit him with the fentanyl. If you look, the guy's knee wasn't even on his neck like that. When he said mama is his girlfriend. They said he screamed for his mama. Mama was his girlfriend. It's in the documentary. But something that hit me, that me up when I was watching the documentary, and it said they want a tall guy like me. When I looked at that image of him, this tall black dude with the bald head, he reminded me of somebody else. Who do you think he reminded me of?
Virgil.
He reminded me of Virgil.
Kanye's warped mind, the murder of George Floyd reminded him of a famous designer. That's what he was thinking of. Now, let's be very clear. The documentary he's referring to is the Candace Owens documentary. He's citing the documentary as if it is conclusive scholarship, that this is research data, not opinion, but conclusive fact. It's in the documentary, he says. Now, for those who are commenting that the George Floyd family should not be suing Kanye, that they already have gotten enough out of this, they've already received money, let me put something in front of you. Did you say that when the families sued Alex Jones for their statements about their dead loved ones being children? Did you say that then? All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's put it in the picture. Very sad situation. And by the way, for the record, once again, Nore, you played yourself. Nore likes to be liked by famous people. You got to get out of that, brother. Sometimes you got to challenge folks to be a leader. The $250 million lawsuit is being filed by Roxie Washington on behalf of her 8-year-old daughter, Gianna Floyd, for harassment, misappropriation, defamation, and infliction of emotional distress. The press release announced the lawsuit in part. One of the lawyers representing Washington said at the press, in the press release, Kanye West knowingly made blatantly false statements about George Floyd's death to promote his brands and increase marketing value and revenue for himself, his business partners, and associates. During the podcast interview, Kanye West stated malicious falsehoods about George Floyd to profit from Mr. Floyd's horrendous death and his family's trauma. The interests of the child are priority. George Floyd's daughter is being re-traumatized by Kanye West's comments, and he's creating an unsafe and unhealthy environment for her. I said this a few weeks ago about Kanye West and his newfound friends, that everything he's saying seems off kilter. It may seem as if he's off his rocker, but everything he has said perfectly aligns with the consumer base that he currently connects to, the Trump base. He has gone out of his way to not offend white America while offending Black America any chance he gets. What has happened in the process of him becoming this new version of Ye? He has become richer beyond his wildest dreams. Remember, just a few years ago, he was begging Mark Zuckerberg for money on social media. And now he has been classified as a billionaire. Who's buying Kanye albums now? Who is consuming his product line, going to his concerts? All right, chances are that the Washington lawsuit will be successful? Let's look. Considering that in last week's judgment that found conspiracy theorist Alex Jones must pay nearly $1 billion for the lies he told surrounding the Newton School massacre, that seemed to be what another Washington lawyers hinted at in the press conference when issued a bail threat to Kanye. Free speech rights do not include harassment, lies, misrepresentation, and the misappropriation of George Floyd's legacy. Some words have consequences, Mr. West will be made to understand that, according to the attorney K. Harper Williams. The truth, coupled with this new lawsuit, may spur others to launch a similar lawsuit against the same man who just announced Monday he intended to buy far-right social media network Parler after the more popular Twitter and Instagram blocked Kanye for anti-Semitic remarks. The episode in question was taken down and lawyers ordered to cease and desist because various video clips remain on social media. As a result, it's unclear if Drink Champs could be the next recipient of a sizable lawsuit. Okay, so let me go back to Nore, the guy who was hosting the show where Kanye said this insanity. Initially, when Nore was challenged by myself and others, Nore came out and said he got more views than the Super Bowl. That was his response to everybody. He valued those views more so than he valued the legacy of the George Floyd family. And then once the potential of a lawsuit came out, Nore hopped his happy ass back on TV to apologize to everybody. What else happened? Revolt took down the video, YouTube deplatformed the video, and others did the same. Just by the threat of a lawsuit, they did these things. Lawsuits can change the reality of policy and procedure in this country. Now, let's be very clear. Let's put up the picture. This is what Kanye does in his free time now. This story comes under the backdrop of Kanye showcasing a White Lives Matter shirt with Candace Owens, the greatest black white supremacist in America. There's no word yet if her documentary will include this legal issue as well. All right, good doctor, let me ask you a question here, okay? Because this seems obviously in contrast to what Kanye's behavior was previously, some years back. The black community validated him, he came back and validated the black community. He is so different, so contrary to what we understood him to be. What would your assessment conclude about Kanye West at this point?
Well, I think you're exactly right that it's really important to point out what the reward is for him for all of this behavior. Remember, he didn't just do this horrible interview. He also, basically threatened American Jews with DEFCON 3 at the same time. There's a particular playbook which is really beneficial financially and psychologically for somebody with his particular personality style. And that is, if you say things that enrage liberal America, you get loved and rewarded by the right-wing audience that he's playing for. And so in a way, the reflection back to him in money, in adulation, in power that he's getting from this kind of thing, I think is probably a tremendous draw for someone with this personality structure. And the reason I'm saying that is because it reminds me of someone else who used to be a liberal, potential Democrat, supported gun control, a guy named Donald Trump, who 15 years ago, wrote books saying we should regulate AR-15s in this country, and I support women's right to choose. And he just wasn't loved enough, and he wasn't rewarded enough. People didn't quite love him in the way he felt like he should be validated. And the turn to the right was beyond his wildest dreams, the kind of power. And so I think we're seeing a kind of Donald Trump style turn in Kanye that is really, really alarming, right? Because it shows you the power, this kind of Putin-like power of playing to the egos of men with particular power structures. And I think the other point to keep in mind is not inconsequential. He's buying a social media platform, and where did that money come from? What does that mean for him to be buying a social media platform at the same time that somebody who's also in this category, Elon Musk, is buying Twitter, right? And where did that money come from? And so I think that there's a sense of these kind of these kind of scripts also cornering the market on social media that even makes this more dangerous, because all of a sudden it's not just about one guy or one ego. It's also really controlling the social media universe with these narratives that enrage liberals in a way to empower conservatives.
Very well said. They are basically purchasing the town square. The town square back in the day was the center location for conversation. It was publicly owned and publicly accessible. Now these private social media companies have become the new de facto town hall. But that town hall is still very much so private, and it is based on the rules of that private organization.